Unisem Malaysia saw its third quarter net profit drop by 21% to 40.3 million, mainly due to lower revenue from the group's operations in Ipoh, which was impacted by plant closure and limited headcount. Revenue for the quarter increased 2.4% to 366.4 million from the 357.7 million reported in the previous year's quarter. Unisem also declared a dividend of 2 cents per share. The semiconductor player acknowledges that operating in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic brings about various challenges, which include manpower limitations, logistic and supply chain interruptions. However, Unisem notes that the outlook of the semiconductor sector remains positive as demand for chips across all end segments remains robust. Unisem's directors expect the group's performance to be satisfactory for the remaining period to the end of FY21. Globtronics Technologies' net profit for the third quarter of FY21 dropped 9.8% to 16.3 million due to lower volume loadings from certain customers and a drop in economies of scale. Revenue for the quarter fell 15% to 55.7 million from the 65.5 million reported the previous year. However, earnings were better on a quarter-on-quarter basis, surging 160% as a result of higher volume loadings of products and better economies of scale from certain customers. As for prospects, Globtronics says the group's financial performance may continue to be impacted by the pandemic and its containment measures. Notwithstanding, the group says it has taken strong initiative to mitigate the exposure and disruption in the supply chain. Globtronics says it will also continue to focus on escalating up the value chain and riding on the R&D initiatives in new products design and development with its key customers moving forward. Datuk Seri Najib Razak is suing the government and former Attorney General Tan Sri Tommy Thomas over the 1MDB-related criminal charges brought against him. The ex-PM filed the legal action against Putrajaya and Thomas for alleged malicious abuse of process, misfeasance in public office and negligence, according to the statement of claims cited by The Edge. According to reports, Najib is claiming for 1.9 million for damages that include medical expenses due to anxiety and stress, travel expenses and security personnel, among others. This is in relation to the 1MDB Tanore trial, the International Petroleum Investment Company, or IPIC case, and the alleged money laundering case under the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. Najib made clear that he is not suing over the charges under the SRC International case, where he is appealing against his conviction and sentence of 12 years in jail and 210 million ringgit fine. According to the statement of claim, the charges against Najib were part of a long-planned, premeditated exercise by Thomas and the then Pakatan Harapan government. The statement said as AG, Thomas carried out his duties, at least in relation to Najib, as if he were an agent of Pakatan Harapan. Thomas would later go on to link Najib's political party UMNO with Najib himself, the Malay race and the drive to Islamization, according to the statement. IGB Real Estate Investment Trust saw its third quarter net property income fall 43% to 55.9 million due to lower revenue. Quarterly revenue declined 26.7% to 95.8 million ringgit. It declared an interim income distribution per unit of 1.18 cent to be paid on November 30th. IGB REIT says the lower top line and MPI were mainly due to the higher rental support provided to tenants, as well as higher allowance for impairment of trade receivables in the third quarter. Despite the current reopening of retail trades and some initial signs of recovery in business and economic conditions, IGB REIT says prospects remain cautiously optimistic. It says it is determined to stay resilient throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent endemic phase. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission arrested 16 company directors on the evening of October 25th on suspicion of being involved in the misappropriation of funds from the Malaysian Indian Transformation Unit. The suspects, which ranged in age between 24 and 68, were nabbed in a massive operation around the Klang Valley. According to Bernama sources, it is estimated that tens of millions of ringgit were misused by the group that originally applied for Mitra grants to organize socio-economic programs for the Indian community. It has been estimated that almost 60% of the grant allocation received by companies, individuals and foundations for the purpose of implementing socio-economic programs did not reach the target groups. According to the source, the grants were applied for Mitra and misappropriated for the benefit of certain individuals. As such, no programs were held and no statement of expenditure could be produced to the authorities. Mitra was restructured in 2018 during the Pakatan Harapan administration and was placed under the purview of the PM's department. However, since April 2020, Mitra was placed under the Ministry of National Unity and it is estimated to have received a yearly budget of 100 million ringgit. MACC Chief Commissioner Datuk Seri Najib confirmed the arrest, saying that the case is being investigated under Section 16A and Section 18 of the MACC Act 2009.